common coins that get confused, any guesses? Nickel and quarter, yes, every time. And so, again, it's a great way. A lot of times we'll start with all the pennies, and we just work on one type of coin at a time, because it practices counting by 10, counting by 5s. Some kids are ready for that mixed coins. We usually wait and add the quarter until they're ready, because they confuse the quarter and the nickel a lot, but we have, most of the students have been introduced to money, and we'll revisit it again, because it's a tricky concept of, being able to count, going from counting by 10s and then having to switch your brain to adding 5s. Some kids are easily able to do that, and others, their strategies are grouping the coins a certain way. Again, it just depends on where they are. So we have not touched on clock yet, but they're always, in morning meeting, we talk about the clock all the time. What time is it right now? When, so they already, a lot of kids are very, some kids are comfortable with it and can tell time. Some, have the concepts.
If you don't have an analog clock,
Yes.
please get one.
Yeah.
They're cheap and it's an important skill for them to have. We'll go ahead and take any questions that you guys have or anything. Yeah, go ahead.
I know we talked briefly about the home practice, like extra math.
Yes.
Are we doing anything at this moment? Are we supposed to be doing anything, I should say?
Well, we are currently, like I said, we're right now looking into Scoop Pad. We just want to make sure that it is age appropriate. It is something that it's manageable to do at home. I just met with Starlin and was asking her thoughts of using it and how it's working. So our goal is to be, and like I said, in the past we've done extra math. We haven't sent, you will get information about all of that.
So no, you're not supposed to.
So nothing from us directly, only because we're just now, and I know some kids have those facts and they have them memorized, but we wanted to introduce the concept of addition to everyone before we say, okay, now you need to practice all these math facts. Because again, some kids aren't there yet, I know some are. So we will email all of you and letting you know exactly, again, what we're looking into. Because the Scoop Pad too, we have to get a license to.
And if you know where your child's at, and if they're ready to be doing that, you go for it. There's all kinds of stuff out there that's free and games they can play and whatnot. But it really is important that we have that time for most of them to introduce, and even those that are ready for the facts, to make sure they're still thinking about the strategies of breaking apart those numbers and things like that. So that's
Scoop
where we're
Pad's
at
an
right now.
application, it's not computation. So we do want to make sure they have a good foundation before we throw all this stuff in. But yes, our goal is to have extra practice in it.
Was extra math just not working, or?
No, extra math focuses on computation only, and for some kids, they have a lot of their facts master, and so we wanted to throw out more where we can differentiate a little bit more.
What about Rocket Math? A lot of us have third graders and first graders.
Yeah.
So, and I have one that, a third grader and a first grader who, she gets math, I don't allow her. She said,
Yeah.
Mommy, you're not allowing me to learn.
Yeah.
I can't get on and do Scoop Pad or Rocket Math, or whatever that is, I'm holding her back. So I didn't know where we stood on Rocket Math, and maybe it's child, some kids really do better with the pen and paper, maybe
Yeah.
some do better with the computer.
Yeah.
So I throw that out,
Yeah.
Our
That's
Scoop
okay.
Pad was free for a week or a month or something.
I know,
So
yeah.
it disappeared and all of a sudden,
Yes.
I'm like, well, you got extra math here. Look at all the
Yeah,
extra
right.
math. That's always free.
Rocket Math, I didn't, that's a good point. I didn't mention Rocket Math, third grade started it a couple years ago and really likes it. It is pencil and paper, which is important too. I mean, so much is going to technology, but they're using pencil and paper in class a lot too. And I do like that they each have their own individual goals based on how quick they actually write their letters. There's an initial assessment that where they time them on just copying letters down. So it takes that variable into consideration, which is unusual. Not many do that, and I like the fact that I like that. And there's different philosophies as far as the whole timing piece of facts go. your kids certainly are at an age where we're not worried about the time as we are the understanding and the foundation. And we don't want to see anxiety issues. And we do make exceptions if that does become a major problem. However, others really like the competition, the self-competition, and trying to, it is with themselves only. They have their own personal goal and trying to beat that each time. They like that competition. It is motivating. And we don't want to take that away by any means. So that's kind of, yes.
Why is rocket math not used in first grade? I also have a third grader and a first grader. And
Yeah.
to me, sometimes it seems like we're waiting a little bit too long to introduce certain things. And one more thing also about the extra math we have in Khan Academy, I think there needs to be a lot of communication to the parents about what is used for what and when are you planning to introduce it. And now we have more than 50 days of school. If SchoolPad is something good for first grade, which again, my son also asked to use it, and said, oh, why can't I use it? I said, well, your teachers are not ready, or something that just kind of puts them at peace. But they don't have patience. If he doesn't get to use it now, he's going to have a hard time later because, that's just, when he's interested, that's the time to introduce it.
It's important that, it's definitely something we're looking through. We haven't made any decisions, and it's important that we take time in deciding what they're ready for rather than just throwing it all on them, 4 different programs in first grade. And I think it's, again, really, really important for them to be touching things and building foundational pieces versus putting them on a whole bunch of different programs. Not to say we're not going to introduce that, like we said. They're going to be doing facts, and you're more than welcome to have them using, anything you would like. But it's developmentally, I don't know that we believe our philosophy is not to have them all doing programs, right away. And so, is there anything else you want to say to that?
Again, the teacher, when we sat down and talked about, I know there are many different programs that different grades use. And so at our math curriculum meetings when we meet, we kind of went through all the pros and cons of all of them. And as first grade teachers, we said, I don't want to start something and then 2 months later go, that was horrible, let's redo this or do this. We want to make sure it is going to be appropriate for, I know that some of you have used it, so we're not saying we're not going to use it. My gut is that we're probably going to go that way. But like she said, we do want to also, we're currently right now introducing that foundation of addition, and I know some kids are in different places. So like Kathleen said, feel free to go ahead and start some of these other things that you want. The scoop pad, as this weekend I tried to get on and play around with it. I asked Kim Starlin if I could have her info to go into it, to kind of just see what it offers. It's something that we haven't used in first grade, and we didn't know a lot about the first grade piece of it, so that's what we're looking into, right? That's currently what we're looking into right now. So, and the extra math, the reason, again, we don't start at the beginning of the year is because we haven't really touched base with where everyone is, and making sure they do have an understanding. Because like Kathleen said, our goal is, yes, they're going to eventually memorize all these facts, but do they truly know what that means, how to apply it, how to use it? And we do work them really hard throughout the day, and they are 6 and 7, so we don't want to bombard you guys with hours of homework. So, and I know that some kids like that, so we always encourage parents, please do what you feel is best for your child, and you can speak with your teachers if you...
Yeah, if they're asking for it, we're certainly not going to say, no, you can't do that. But some students, we try to throw a little bit out at a time, and I know some first aid school, I keep saying, I'm ready for homework, and I always laugh because I say, you say that now, so you may not be saying that in a few years. But, please know that we are looking into these programs, and we're not going to wait till the end of the year to start them. Our goal is to get them started and get them going. I will say, to take a piece from that, in the grades and moving on, it's very important that we do not track your children starting at age, there's research that shows that is not good for them, that we start deciding at age 6 and 7 what track they're on and how, where they're gonna be with math. So it is very important that we do pre-assess before topics to see where they're at, and we make sure that at least, and I can each grade is a little bit different. I can't say specifically this amount of time, but one day, I know Fridays in a couple grades, they are problem solving together in mixed groups where they are given a situation, and they are all hearing, different levels, and it's good to, where, this is a perfect example in third grade, there are several that are still using repeated addition for multiplication, and then there are others that understand that 5 times 3, they know that that's 15 right away, but they're hearing each other, and in those groups, or even in the number talks, that's another piece that's really important, that they hear each other. It's done this whole group too. And so those are at least, always for sure once a week, and we strive for more. But you're right, that's a very important piece, and very difficult to make sure you have the balance of meeting them where they're at and continuing to move, but yet keeping them together enough to learn from one another. And so, yeah, I appreciate that. Did I answer it to your, yeah, okay.
And projects that we do as
Yeah.
well, that
We do
incorporate
culminating
that.
projects where they come together. Yeah.
I guess my one concern is still from before our larger classes that we have. How does that break down for
Great
the amount
question.
of time
Yep.
versus?
Right now we have three teachers and during math time. So myself and Mrs. Lerner and Myra Hayes, Mrs. Hayes, are in, and so we are able to keep it to 8 to 1. With that now, it's not exactly, we may pull here, it's not exactly 8 here and there, given their needs. And then I don't know if you want to speak to.
And like she said, I know that it is a larger class, but, to be quite honest, in math, I'm not seeing that being an issue that kids aren't getting what they need. I think it was wonderful that we could get an extra teacher in there to help, who are all three very knowledgeable in math and know what they are doing as well. And so, like she said, with that third person, it makes it even smaller groups, the two of us. But you're not going to always see us breaking up into groups. We do like to keep them together to work on things because they do learn so much from one another. Even students who, you may feel your child's way up here, and they may be, but they're learning so much from all sorts of different kids, and it's great to see. So I don't know if that
Not to mention them being able to verbalize what they're doing and put it into words. That's huge. And teach someone else. That's when you truly understand it. If you can explain to others. So, did they get your question answered back there? No, blue vest.
What Allegra was doing on the video. I think, well, first of all, I think it's wonderful, but I'm wondering how we get our hands on those types of
Yeah.
things from home. It's not something I would do on a daily basis, maybe, because
Yeah.
there's time for playing with siblings and pets and all that after school, but on a Sunday afternoon, I'm thinking, if I just set that out and didn't say anything, on the table,
Yeah.
maybe a certain six-year-old might come around and
And
work on it just by yourself.
you could easily, thinking of your child in particular, she probably would love to make one of these on her own, but she can't, or we try and move away. They're not going to see houses their entire life on number. So we do move away to more of something like this. Now, I made these the same colors that we do on this. You don't have to. And so you can have her create something like this. Again, for some kids, if they get to create it, it's more meaningful for them. Mrs. Larner last year, I know you can go out and play.
I would do popsicle sticks
Okay.
and small beans. You
Okay,
really can make it. Yeah.
And Mrs. Larner actually, and I can even ask her if she still has copies, but she the end of the year sent home some paper copies of these exact same pieces, if you want those.
They're also cheap on Amazon.
Or-
And Ainsley's actually scolded me that I haven't gotten them. Ours out like last week. She was.
I was gonna say, I took index cards and I cut them in half, so they're like, they're nice moment and decided to put 10 dots on 10 of them
Okay.
and 1 dot on 10 of them, and we've been working with those so that he can still see that, like for the rods, I know that,
Oh, yes.
like I know like you said the rod is worth 10, but this way you can literally see that there's 10 dots on his 10 card.
That's a great idea.
And we,
But I'm gonna make one of those nice little house things, because that's nice.
well, and before we, I mean, quite honestly,
So I have this, if you do
you want this, we do have boxes, so.
But
But we also use, the start of this mat is used for place value, and in kindergarten you'll see this as well, but that's how we start this with the place value in there, you know, then we move on to the addition and subtraction. But if you want a copy of this, I can make it.
Okay, great. And I just have one more question. When are you gonna introduce quarters? Because we've been saving quarters all year.
No, no,
We are gonna count them out and exchange them and do, you know, holiday gifts based on.
Like I said, we've,
Maybe we better move down to Nichols, which.
no, and we, to be quite, I mean, the other thing, like morning meeting, a lot of times things just naturally come up, and so they know what, like, we talk about the quarter, we have a picture of it up, and some kids are like, oh, well, if I have 8 quarters, that's $2, you know, and they, you know, quickly know the values of that. So, please go ahead.